Greetings everyone, I hope you're fine, I hope you are doing well. And if you're new here, this channel is all about African history, politics, social activities, and many other things. And I would like to appreciate you all for taking your precious time to watch this video.
There's nobody who governs here, outright majority. We are the largest party, must be respected. But we don't go around pointing fingers and threatening partners every day. We don't do that. And we are not threatened by what other political parties do, sensational and all of that in the context of the GNU, because we've got faith and trust in our leadership. If our leadership in the GNU is veering away from the mandate we have given them, we will be the first ones to recall them. But we can't verbose and accentuate lies and slogans, sell out and all of that.
Self-introspection is very important, especially when it comes to organizations, companies, and many other institutions. When it comes to ANC, it seems as if self-introspection, accountability, respect, and many other things have been kicked out of the window. Yet, they still have guts to demand respect. So now they call themselves the largest political party. They no longer call themselves a ruling political party because they can see that it does no longer fit them. It's no longer appropriate for them to be called a ruling party. Now they have shifted because they want to find a way so that they can feel good. They want to find a position that can make them feel good because they don't want to feel uncomfortable. But they've been humbled during the elections. So instead of wasting time like trying to find a way that will be appropriate to describe themselves, they should be spending that energy, that time to say, you know what, we have to find out where things went wrong.
As though GNUs in their framework are constituted by allies. It's not correct. For people who are ideologically aligned. It's not correct. GNU was constituted, and then what happened is that everybody was invited. Those who came with conditions, they ejected themselves out of it. And then they left. They did not leave. They did not even come in. And that's it. So what do you want from us? I mean, Julius Malema, you know he talks too much. And then he says, we want a GNU without the ANC before the elections. And then he's followed by his second in command, Floyd. Floyd says, we want to remove the ANC surgically everywhere. Okay? And then they ask him as a follow-up question, will you be prepared to work with the DA, the Freedom Front, and everybody? He says, all political parties, including the DA and us, we must come together and surgically remove the ANC as ambassadors. Everything that is ANC must be removed. That's Floyd who says that. They must come together as political parties. Now, the results of the elections come and they produce what they produced. Yes, the ANC below 50%, 40%. Now, can they work together without the ANC? The people of South Africa refused.
According to my perception, that's not true. The people of South Africa did not refuse. You have to bear in mind that they lost 17% or 18%, if I'm not mistaken. But they still managed to keep, like, for an example, 40%. In other words, it doesn't mean the people of South Africa refused. It's just that they were fortunate to keep this 40%. So that is why now they are no longer calling themselves a ruling political party, but instead they now call themselves the largest political party. So in other words, instead of saying the people of South Africa refused, they have to ask themselves a question. How can we change this situation? Because right now, as we speak, we have to know that ANC is the biggest loser because they lost 17%. But now they want to shift everything to economic freedom fighters, as if economic freedom fighters is the biggest loser. And the other thing that I would like to talk about is that when it comes to the elections, when people are campaigning or political parties are campaigning, everyone has a strategy because they all campaign to win their elections. For an example, when both teams are playing against each other, even in soccer, for an example, each and every team plays to win, even if they can park the bus, even if they can park the bus, even if they can defend maybe 90 minutes, but their aim is still to win, because even if they are parking the bus, they will still try by all means to move forward. So that is why during the campaign or election campaign, all the political parties have been campaigning against the ANC, including DA, IFP, and all others that are in GNU. It's not only EFF that was campaigning against ANC. All political parties that are in GNU today were campaigning against ANC during their election campaign. Why? Because it's a strategy. So the only thing that ANC needs to do is to humble themselves and say, we are a biggest loser. We lost 17%. And based on history, since 1999, the graph of ANC has been going down. So in other words, ANC since 1999 doesn't have a history of coming back. So this is what they should be dealing with right instead of like, we are a biggest political party, because now they are trying to demand respect from DA, because it seems as if they are being disrespected by DA, but now they are strategically sending a message to say, you have to respect us.
ANC will become the bigger leader in terms of this. But according to themselves, they were going to run this country without us. And that's what they were fighting for. Malema says, surgically remove. I mean, he says, we want the GNU without the ANC. Wishful thinking, it did happen, but with the ANC. And then they could not come in to it. And then they started now to invent new concepts, Black Front, Progressive Front. What's that? Oh, what's that?
Now he's trying to ridicule Progressive Caucus. So Progressive Caucus is there to give justice to black people. In other words, to do what ANC has failed to do since 1994. As I always say, no head of state under the leadership of ANC since 1994 who has prioritized black people unconditionally. So now they're trying to shift like the blame to say, let's ridicule them. Now they're trying to ridicule the Progressive Caucus as if it doesn't make sense. Yes, it does. Why? Because it prioritizes black people. In other words, to give justice to the indigenous people of South Africa.
Black Front, we can come together every time and again. We have given the Liberation Political Party with one seat in the GNU, the biggest ministry in the government. Biggest ministry. That belongs to a party, I don't know of how many. If PAC had 5, 10 members, we would have given them 2. We have given PA one ministry. PA. Sports. It's just that sports make you to be on TV every day. So Gaiety is always there. You see, and is effective. Now it's a pain to all of them. Gaiety and Mackenzie. With one seat, you can think that PA have got 15 seats. And then you've got DA with a couple of ministries that they actually have. You've got other political parties as deputy ministers participating in the arrangement of the GNU? What are we talking about here? Because all sensible people understood that this is not a melting pot. We still maintain our identity. And we knew that the DA will behave like the way it is behaving. Because they are not going to the GNU to sign off death to their political party. They will want to be seen to be meaningful in the GNU. And then that's why they claim things that they found to be happening and claim them as theirs. No, Zuma has appealed, and that matter is dealt with in the appeals, who have been kept abreast. Is obviously in a circus mode. You can see this thing to him is a joke, that I've got 2 memberships and all of that. And yet, that thing he calls an organization is not an organization. It's a project. It doesn't have conferences and all of that. He knows.
MK is now the 3rd largest political party here in South Africa, yet it's still being ridiculed. I understand that they have their own style of running their organization currently, and I may not agree with everything they do, but Fikile, Mbalula and ANC should admit that in KZN, MK party is the largest political party, because right now within GNU, they regard themselves as the largest political party. So if they use the very same terminology, in other words, it can be used again when it comes to MK in KwaZulu-Natal, because MK in KwaZulu-Natal is the largest political party. They have to respect that. So that is why I always emphasize on self-introspection, to say, they have to say what happened, because we used to rule KwaZulu-Natal. So they have to humble themselves and say, we have to bring back our voters. But they spend this energy undermining MK, undermining other political parties with arrogance, instead of humbling themselves to say, our voters, what do you want? Please come back. They are not doing that at all. So ANC doesn't have a history of coming back, but they can do so if they can do a self-introspection.